Welcome back to Mauritius 360 for another deep dive. We're looking at a trend that's changing the world, and it's the role of entrepreneurs in global economic dominance.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. And nations are starting to understand that fostering innovation among their top business minds is like a secret weapon for them to get ahead on the world stage.
Exactly. And there's no better example of this than what's happening right now in China. Have you heard of DeepSeek?
DeepSeek.
Yeah, they're this relatively unknown AI startup that has Silicon Valley kind of freaking out.
Really? What did they do?
They've developed an AI model called R1 that's blowing industry giants like ChatGPT and Claude out of the water.
Seriously?
Yeah, and get this, they're doing it at a fraction of the cost.
Wow. How is that even possible?
Well, it's even more impressive when you consider that DeepSeek did all of this, despite U.S. sanctions designed to prevent China from accessing advanced technology.
Oh, wow.
They managed to acquire some older NVIDIA chips, and through some seriously clever engineering, they're achieving these mind-blowing results.
That's amazing. It's like a real-life David and Goliath story.
Right. A small startup outsmarted these massive companies with their enormous budgets. Makes you wonder.
Yeah, it really does.
And it's not just DeepSeek. It seems like China is making a very deliberate and strategic push to support its entrepreneurs across the board. Even Xi Jinping himself has signaled a renewed focus on this.
Uh-huh.
Did you hear about his meeting with Jack Ma?
Jack Ma, the co-founder of Alibaba, yeah.
That's right. It was a really big deal because it came after a period of intense government control over the Chinese tech sector.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember that. Things were getting pretty tense there for a while.
Yeah. But this meeting with Jack Ma signaled a shift. Xi Jinping basically emphasized the importance of entrepreneurs in revitalizing the Chinese economy, particularly with all of these growing global trade tensions.
Interesting. So what did he promise to do?
Well, he said he'd address those concerns about excessive regulations and ensure a level playing field for businesses.
Okay, interesting.
So we can see China taking this very centralized, top-down approach to building its entrepreneurial ecosystem.
Yeah.
Now, let's flip the script and look at the U.S.
Okay.
Because over there, the story takes a very different turn.
Okay.
I mean, we all know Elon Musk, right?
Yeah, of course.
With his insane wealth and influence, he's become this incredibly powerful figure in the U.S., and he's deeply connected to the government.
Uh-huh.
I mean, remember when he bought Twitter and, immediately reinstated Trump's account? I mean, that had massive implications for Trump's comeback to politics.
I mean, yeah, for sure. I actually completely forgot about that. That was wild.
It was wild. And now that Trump's back in the White House, guess who's the co-chair of his new Department of Government Efficiencies?
I'm gonna guess Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, driving deregulation and pushing for reduced government spending.
Wow. That's a lot of power concentrated in one person.
It really is. And it raises some serious questions, right? I mean, think about it. Musk basically has the power to influence policies that could directly benefit all of his companies, Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, that seems like a pretty big conflict of interest, don't you think?
It definitely seems that way. It really makes you think about the balance of power and accountability when you have these individual entrepreneurs holding so much sway in a democratic system.
Right.
And if that wasn't enough to worry about, now we have Trump back in office, which means
Tariffs are back on the menu.
exactly. This is adding a whole other layer of uncertainty to businesses worldwide.
I mean, it's his go-to strategy, isn't it? Using tariffs to protect American industries and put pressure on other countries.
Right, and it's always sparked concerns about potential trade wars.
Yeah, for sure. And we've seen it play out before, especially when he targeted China.
Yeah, those tariffs were super disruptive.
Totally. And who knows who he'll target this time?
So on one hand, we have China's very organized strategic approach to using entrepreneurs as a tool for economic dominance. And then on the other hand, we have the U.S., where it seems to be more about relying on the influence of powerful individuals.
Right. And those different approaches are bound to have pretty significant impacts on the world.
So we've got these two very different approaches to entrepreneurship playing out on the world stage. And it's interesting to think about how it all impacts us here in Mauritius, right?
Absolutely, especially with all the potential for trade wars and economic instability. And then on top of that, you've got the geopolitical tensions just rising.
Exactly. It's a lot to navigate, especially for a smaller nation.
Yeah.
And that brings up a crucial question. How does Mauritius fit into all of this? I mean, we are a small island nation, but we've got this incredible entrepreneurial spirit.
Right.
So how do we leverage that to not just survive, but actually thrive in this kind of crazy global landscape?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. And I think it really requires some careful thought. We can't just cop up and pay what China's doing or what the U.S. is doing.
Right.
We've got to forge our own unique path.
I like that. Forging our own path. But where do we even begin?
Well, I think the first step is recognizing that Mauritius already has a pretty dynamic entrepreneurial ecosystem, right? We have this strong tradition of innovation, especially in areas like finance, tourism, and technology.
That's true. But sometimes, I don't know, it feels like we're not quite reaching our full potential. I mean, there's so much talent here, but how do we create an environment where these brilliant entrepreneurs can really flourish and actually compete on a global scale?
I think a big part of it comes down to creating the right conditions for growth.
Okay.
And that means investing in education and skills development, especially in those STEM fields and those emerging technologies like AI.
Uh,
And we also need to cultivate a culture of collaboration and knowledge sharing where those entrepreneurs can really learn from each other, support each other, and build on each other's successes.
so building a strong foundation for innovation. But what about access to things like funding and resources? I mean, a lot of startups in Mauritius struggle to get the capital they need to grow their businesses.
You're absolutely right. Access to capital is critical, and I think we need to explore some of those more innovative financing models like venture capital funds or angel investor networks that are specifically designed with Mauritian entrepreneurs in mind.
Okay.
And then, of course, we can also consider government-backed initiatives that could offer things like seed funding and early-stage investment.
Right. I mean, those early stages are often the hardest, right?
Absolutely. And it's not just about the money. We also have to think about the regulatory environment, make sure that our policies are actually business friendly, encourage innovation and entrepreneurship, and don't create all these unnecessary roadblocks.
Yeah, getting rid of all that red tape. I mean, nobody wants to deal with that.
Exactly. So things like streamlining those regulations, reducing that bureaucracy, and creating a legal framework that's clear, predictable, and transparent, all of that is super important if we want to attract investment and build a climate where businesses can really take off.
So it sounds like a multi-pronged approach, focusing on education, on funding, and getting that regulatory environment right.
Uh-huh.
But I feel like there's more to it, though, isn't there? Like, it's got to go deeper than just those practical things. It's about fostering a whole mindset of innovation, a belief that we can create world-class businesses right here in Mauritius.
Absolutely. And that means instilling a sense of ambition, of possibility, and encouraging our young people to dream big and to pursue their entrepreneurial dreams, right? I mean, we need to celebrate those success stories and create those role models that inspire the next generation of innovators.
I love that. Celebrating successes. I mean, we have so many talented entrepreneurs in Mauritius who are already making waves globally. I think sharing their stories could be so powerful and inspiring.
Right. And think about someone like Lian Wenfeng, the founder of DeepSeek. He saw an opportunity in this really tough market and despite facing all those limitations, managed to build this world-leading AI company. I mean, imagine if we could attract individuals like that to Mauritius,
Yeah.
offering a really supportive environment where they could develop their ideas and contribute to our economy.
That's such an interesting thought. Could Mauritius become this hub for AI talent, this place where innovators from all over the world come to collaborate and really build the future?
It's definitely possible. I mean, we've got the talent, the infrastructure, and the potential to be a real leader in this field, but it's going to take a serious effort from everyone involved.
Right.
The government, the private sector, educational institutions, and of course the entrepreneurs themselves.
Yeah, it's a challenge for sure, but it's also such an exciting opportunity. We can learn from those superpowers like China and the U.S., see what they've done well, see where they've struggled. But ultimately, we have to chart our own course,
Hmm.
a course that empowers Mauritian entrepreneurs to drive our economic growth and make sure we have a place on that global stage. It really is amazing to think about how much potential we have when we shift our thinking a little bit. Instead of just reacting to these global trends, we could actually be shaping our own future
Yeah.
by empowering our entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to remember that we don't have to just blindly copy other countries.
Right.
We have to identify what makes Mauritius unique and carve out our own niche.
Okay, so here's where I think it gets really interesting. What if, instead of trying to become like the next Silicon Valley or Shenzhen, we focus on becoming this global hub for something that already aligns with Mauritius's strengths?
Okay, I like that.
I mean, we could become a leader in sustainable technology,
Yeah,
building on all of our work in renewable energy and environmental conservation.
that's a great example.
Or what about being a center for fintech innovation?
Yeah.
I mean, we've got expertise in financial services and that strategic location connecting Africa and Asia.
Those are brilliant examples. It's all about finding those areas where Mauritius has this natural advantage and then really focusing our energy and resources on becoming world-class experts.
And it's more than just the technology.
Uh-huh.
It's about nurturing this whole culture of creativity and problem solving and collaboration. It's about creating this space where, I don't know, failure is seen as an opportunity to learn, not like this big setback.
Exactly. We have to encourage risk-taking and experimentation. That's where those truly groundbreaking innovations happen.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with this thought. What if you were the entrepreneur who put Mauritius on the map? What if you had that next big idea that could transform our economy and create this brighter future for generations to come? Don't underestimate yourself. Mauritius is full of so much talent and creativity.
It really is.
And with the right support and a little bit of that daring spirit, anything is possible.
I totally agree.
Remember, the world is changing so fast, faster than ever before. And the nations that are going to thrive are the ones that embrace innovation, empower their entrepreneurs, and create those environments where creativity can just flourish.
That's what we need to do here in Mauritius. Unleash that incredible potential of our entrepreneurs and show the world what we can do.
So let's work together and make Mauritius a real shining example of entrepreneurial success on the global stage.